Brighter Shores is a brand new MMO by Andrew Gower. It's currently divided up into 4 regions called episodes, with more episodes on the way. Here's your guide to unlock all episodes and get the content from every region. I'll take you through each of the main story quests and the best ways to get the level requirements to move forward. First up we have episode 1, HopePort. Here you start off with a nice little tutorial and a bit of lore. For the beginning, just do what the NPCs tell you to do. Go and talk to the various characters in the starting area. You can see who you need to talk to as they have a little speech bubble hovering above their head. Start with Corporal Binns over by the gate. After this you need to learn magic and get your equipment. Let's start with learning magic. Go talk to Anjay Sanderman, he's west of here, and he'll give you your first spells. Next you need to speak to Sultan Malzak, just outside the infirmary, who teaches you about portal stones. Go check out the portal stone, which is in the next room on the map, in the northwest corner. So go through to that room and activate the stone. This will allow you to use your first teleport spell. Go back and talk to Sultar, who will then ask you to test out your teleport spell. Use it after you've spoken to him to demonstrate you understand the spell, and then run back and speak to him again to unlock your Sense spell. This spell lets you easily discover things around you and explore the game world. You also need to speak to the Quartermaster, who is in the building just east of Corporal Binns. He will give you your first weapon and teach you a spell to remotely access your equipment bank. After this, go speak to Corporal Binns to start the next stage of the quest. Goblins are attacking the town and it's down to you to save the day, despite being a brand new recruit with literally minutes of training. Go rally the new recruits by speaking to Delana just outside the barracks to the north. She will ask you to find her bow. Then go inside the barracks and speak to Jermace. Tell him goblins are attacking and he will head to the gate. Now talk to Tablaine and tell him the same. He'll need some convincing. Tell him that Corporal Binns won't be happy, and since Corporal Binns is scarier than the goblins, this cowardly new recruit will then head over to the gate. Delana's bow is behind the light blue bed that's the third one along from the left of the beds that are against the wall on the opposite side of the door. So go click on that bed, click search, and get the bow. Now go back to Delana and give her the bow, either by using the item on her or just by talking to her. Now talk to Corporal Binns again and the gates will open and you can start exploring the town. The guards are fighting goblins in the streets. You need to fight the goblins that are terrorizing the merchant, so go over there and kill those goblins by clicking on them and waiting for the combat to complete. I recommend selecting your sword to fight rather than your bare hands. You can do this by clicking on the cards at the bottom of the screen, or using your number 1 key, or control and number 1 if you've got the chat open. Once you've killed the 2 goblins, the merchant will ask you to help them move their goods. Click on the crate to pick it up and move into the next room to the south. Talk to the merchant standing by the cart on the right as you enter the fountain area, and click on the cart to use the item on it and get a small reward. Delana now appears and tells you that you need to get back to the previous room to help the other guards, so go back and talk to Corporal Binns. He'll tell you the guard captain has been injured and you need to find a way to heal her. Go to the alchemist shop just to the east and speak to the shop owner behind the counter, telling him the guard captain is injured and he will rush out to help her. Go back out to the street and talk to Ebsworth the alchemist. He tells you to head to the beach to get some kelp for a healing potion. Head south until you reach the docks, fighting goblins along the way. Note that you're headed to what is called the East Beach, but it's actually southwest of your current location. Once you hit the docks, head west again, fighting goblins on the way. You can pick up some rope here and a bucket if you choose, as they will go on your tool belt and be used later in the game. Keep going west, and at the end of the path, go south onto the beach. There are 3 sandy coloured stones here with brown plants on the top. You can use your Sense spell by hitting spacebar or control space or clicking the Sense spell in your spellbook to highlight them on the screen. Click on these and discover them to identify them as kelp. Then click on them and select forage to get the kelp. You only need 1 kelp, but you can get more if you want. Now run back the way you came and give the kelp to Ebsworth. He'll tell you how to make a reagent, which is an ingredient for a health potion. Head into the alchemy shop and use the chopping board on the shop counter to prepare the kelp. Now go back and talk to Ebsworth again, and he will now tell you how to turn this reagent into a potion, and he'll give you a bottle for the potion. Go back into the alchemy shop and use the standard potion station by the north wall to make the potion. Then go back to the street and use the potion on the injured guard captain to heal her. After this, the guards will head back to the compound. Go back through to the starting area and talk to Corporal Binns again. Ingrina Pellegrin will also join you, and she'll teach you how to use the immunity spell, which allows you to retreat from combat. Talk to Binns once again. He'll tell you that you can learn to use bows. He'll also tell you that he will take you into the forest once you get your HopePort level, which is all your professions combined, to level 60. You can speak to the bow trainer, Robin Knockwright, to the west, but he won't train you until you have level 15 in the guard profession, so don't bother doing it now. Now let's get to training. There are other quests you can do in HopePort, but none of them are required to get to episode 2. First of all, you can train up the guard profession, as you need 15 in that anyway. Click on guard in your professions menu and scroll down to see the creatures that you can fight. You can fight creatures that are a few levels higher than you, but best to fight creatures at the same level so you get a balance between the most XP and less chance of dying. You can also click on the map icon next to each creature in the profession menu to show you where on the map the creatures are once you've discovered them. You're going to want to start by killing the crows, which are east of the fountain you discovered earlier. You don't need any additional equipment for this. Your starter sword will do just fine. As you kill more creatures, they will drop weapons and gear, some of which will be better than what you have, so just swap out the gear whenever you get a better drop. After you hit level 4, you want to kill thieves, which are in an alleyway just south of the crows. Continue fighting thieves until you hit level 6. Now you can train on goblins, which are east and north of the crows, just north of the town gates. Don't go to the south to fight the goblin chieftains yet, they're too strong for you. Once you hit level 8, you can go straight south to fight goblin chieftains. Keep following this process, fighting the monster matching your level for optimum gains and relatively safe fights. Be aware, you sometimes unlock upgraded levels of monsters that you previously fought. In these cases, just go back to the place where you fought the lower level version of the monster and the higher level monster will appear. Alternatively, you can do the side quest, the Obelisk, to get some guard XP. If you want some variety, you can take breaks in your guard training and train other professions, as you'll want to train multiple professions to get your HopePort level to 60. After you have level 15 guard, you'll need 11 or 12 in each of the other professions to unlock the next episode. You can focus just on guard or on another profession, but bear in mind as you get to the higher levels, you need much more experience to level up. So the fastest way to unlock the next episode is to equally spread your training. Skill up in whatever way you prefer, and when you hit total level 60, which you can see in the professions menu, head back to the starting area. Talk to Robin Knockwright to unlock ranged equipment, and then go and speak to Corporal Binns to complete episode 1 and get some more guard experience. Now you can go back to the town gate east of the fountain, interact with the gate, and it will unlock, and you can go through to HopeForest, episode 2. Well done, you've unlocked the next region in Brighter Shores and lots more content. Here's your guide to unlocking episode 3 of Brighter Shores, the Mines of Mantuban. But wait, you need to hear this first. There is a very powerful side quest in HopeForest that unlocks an ability that makes many professions much faster to train, and this is also a requirement for unlocking episode 5 later. Therefore, I highly recommend completing this quest also if you can, but that's a subject for another video. Back to the main story. So, we start off with a training exercise for the new recruits. Go talk to Corporal Binns. Now the other recruits will run off into the forest and you've got to go and track them. Check the tracks they leave and follow them over to the east. Binns will give you a fear potion to stop monsters attacking you. Feel free to use it if you want, you can make more later, but you can also just use your immunity spell to dodge fights. Next, keep going east and search the smashed mushroom by the exit to trigger another cutscene. After this, go through the east exit. The next room is good for training your scout skill, which you'll need to progress further in the quest. I suggest training scout to level 8, starting with the thieves here, and then move on to the goblins, which are just in the room to the south. But if you want, you can carry straight on with the quest or train elsewhere. Run straight through this room and go through the exit on the east side. At the crossroads, search another smashed mushroom by the north exit, then continue through that exit. Take note, just south and east of here is the teleport stone for the region, and 2 rooms south of these crossroads is a room full of level 6 Wendigos, which can also be good for scout training once you have a few levels and a HopeForest melee weapon. Go straight north to the end of the room to trigger the next cutscene. Jameis will suggest splitting up. You need to agree with him to continue the quest. Head west as agreed, then west again into a second room, and finally through the exit to the south. You will see a dryad being attacked by a level 10 stag. Help the dryad by attacking the stag. Ideally use a ranged weapon first. You can safe spot the stag to make sure you get all your shots off first by standing to the north of the rock, which is just north of the stag. Thanks to Telleril from Tell's Tales for highlighting this in his video, which I'll link in the description. However, unless your skill and gear is really high, you will still need to melee the stag. You can do this safely from level 8 as long as you have some kind of HopeForest melee weapon, which you will get from training on the mobs here. The dryad will then tell you to head north to a place called the Pooling, and she'll give you a leaf which goes into your quest log for you to use later. Leave the room to the north and go east twice to get back to where you left Jameis. Now head north, then west, then north, and north again to get to the thin trail. Go to the north end of the room, against the cliff, and open the quest menu to use the leaf she just gave you. She will appear and open the cliff for you. Now head inside. What follows is a cutscene explaining the 3 classes in the game, and this is the point where you choose your class. She does mention the equipment each class uses. This is directly relevant for later in the game, when you start making your own equipment. Cryonites use the metal weapons and armor created by the smithing skill. Hammer mages use equipment of stone, made by stone masonry, and guardians use bone equipment made by the bonewright skill. You can learn all these skills, but at least in the early game, you will not have much use for equipment made for other classes. Choose your class and move on with the quest. Now your objective is east of Stump Clearing with the moss monsters. Just head south out of the cave, keep going south until you hit a T-junction, then east. From Stump Clearing, if you have 8 woodcutting, you can just head straight east until you get to a larger room with a crystal in the middle. If you don't have level 8 woodcutting, then you have to take a longer route. There are 2 paths heading north, take the one on the right. In the next room with the Spriggans, head east, go east again, and run through the room with the shades, exiting to the south. Finally, head east into the crystal room. Once you enter the room, a cutscene will trigger and you will have to face your comrade Jameis, who has been corrupted by the crystal. Kill him and the dryad will give you instructions on how to remove the corruption from the area. You'll need to gather several sources of uncorrupted magic and apply them to the crystal. The first one is just in the room to the west. There are 2 glowing beetles that you need to pick up. Note there is another item through the room to the south of here, but you cannot get to it without level 8 woodcutter. Here's a quick rundown of how to get level 8 quickly. If you've already got that skill, feel free to jump to the next timestamp in the video. To train woodcutting, you will need 36 silver to buy the tools. If you don't have the money or the saw already, you can earn the silver however you like here in HopeForest or back in HopePort. A higher scout skill will benefit you later, so killing HopeForest monsters is a decent way to earn the money. Once you have the money, head to the south of the map until you get to the village. You can either go south from the clearing where you first saw the thieves, or the route I'm going to show you on screen now is from the teleport stone south of the moss monsters and the crossroads. Just go further south past the Wendigos, then east, then south past the spider, then just keep heading west. Once you get to the village, speak to Morris the Hatchet Man to buy a saw and start training your woodcutting. The ash trees in this room are great for training, as there are many of them, and the lumber bank is just south of here in the sawmill. You can train to level 8 on ash trees, but like any profession, it is faster to level the skill using the highest level active gathering method that you have unlocked. So I recommend training on whatever trees are appropriate to your level according to the professions menu. So to get our next component, we'll need 4 coarse ash planks. So take 2 ash logs to the sawmill just south of the village and turn them into planks. Now head east out of the village and immediately south. Keep going south until you reach the broken ferry and repair it with the planks you brought. Now prepare for combat and speak to the ferryman and ask to travel across. He'll take you and you'll be attacked by a giant newt. The trick here is to move onto the tiles that are not flashing, and once the newt attacks the boat, start hitting the newt. When the newt moves away, click on the damaged section of the raft to repair it. Note you need to pay attention to where you're standing. You may need to move to dodge the newt's next attack, but there should always be a non-flashing tile from which you can repair the raft. If you fail to dodge the attack, the newt will hit you for large damage and stun you. Fully repair the raft before attacking the newt again. Then repeat this process until you kill the newt. After the fight, you'll arrive on the other side of the river. Just south of the dock is a glowing fern. Click on this to collect it. Now you can head north on the ferry and back into the forest. You'll need a jar for the next part of this quest. You get this in the Forager's Warehouse shop in HopePort or in Timberwell Supplies here in HopeForest. There's also one spawn in the kitchen in HopePort, but I recommend going to a shop so you can buy a few. I also recommend taking a full stack of potions to the next fight. You will need a decent scout level for the next part of the quest. I recommend level 18, but you can do it at a lower level. It will just be a harder fight. Follow the progression path shown in your profession guide to fight the best monsters for your level. If you want to fight monsters all in roughly the same area, you can head north to train on the Wendigos, then further north of there to fight the Spriggans, and then finally east to fight the Shades. Once you're around level 18, you can fight the next boss. Head back to the Moss Monsters, then west past the pooling until you reach a room full of bears. At lower levels, these bears will be level 4, but by now they should have been upgraded to level 22. You can train a bit on these bears if you want, or you can go straight through to the boss fight. When you're ready, head north across the wooden bridge and enter the boss arena. If you try to take the honey, the giant bear will attack, so stand as far from the monster as possible and then use your ranged weapon. If you want, you can use the safe spot between the rocks to the west, but as you have limited ammo, you can't stay there for long. Thanks again to Telleril for highlighting this in his video, which is linked in the description. When the bear gets into melee range, immediately switch to your best melee weapon, even if you've still got ammo left in your ranged weapon. Don't worry, you'll get a chance to use it. Now continue meleeing the bear until it uses its special attack, and a large portion of the arena flashes. Move outside of the flashing area and switch to your ranged weapon if you have any ammo left. This is also the best time to use a potion if you need to. Wait for the attack to land, then switch to your melee weapon. Do not select your melee weapon before the attack lands, as this will make you approach the bear and you will take a large hit to your health and be stunned. Keep repeating this process, moving around the arena to avoid the special attack, healing with potions during the special attack where necessary, and not allowing yourself to get pinned into a corner. Once the bear is dead, click on the glowing beehive on the tree and harvest the honey. Now head east, back towards the room where you picked up the beetles, just west of the crystal room. Here you will head south to a path blocked by brambles. Use your level 8 woodcutting skill to hack through these and exit to the south, where you will find the last component you need to cleanse the crystal. Pick the glowing mushroom, then head back to the crystal room. Click on the crystal and use each item on it. After this, the crystal will be cleansed and the Dryad will tell you that she senses an evil coming from the mine to the south. However, you don't need to go to the mine yet if you don't have the level requirements to enter. You now need to train your professions in order to demonstrate that you are capable of going into the mine. Similar to episode 1, you need a HopeForest level, which is your HopeForest professions combined, of 60, and a total level, which is all professions combined across all episodes, of 153 in order to enter the mine. Train your professions however you like. I always recommend equally spreading experience across professions in order to level up faster, but be aware that the side quest I mentioned at the beginning of the video requires 32 carpentry to complete. I wouldn't recommend grinding out 32 carpentry in one sitting, as levels 20 to 32 take considerably longer than levels 10 to 20. If you do want to focus on carpentry, you can train this quickly by buying logs from the timber store, or you can cut the logs yourself and level up woodcutting at the same time. Once you have all your levels, return to Jal de Green back in HopePort in the captain's office by the starter area and speak to her to complete the episode 2 main story. You'll get a big chunk of scout experience and you'll receive permission to enter the mine. Now simply return to HopeForest and travel to the mine entrance to the east of the village. The barrier will be gone and you can walk through the doors. Congratulations, you've made it to episode 3, the mines of Mantuban. So we've just arrived in Mantuban and we want to get through to Crenopolis as soon as possible. Go into the next room and collect the pickaxe from the rock in the center. Feel free to mine this flint as you're gonna need mining levels for this quest, and our next destination is very close to the ore bank. It's also worth knowing that 2 rooms north of here is a room of level 0 mine crawlers, which are good for getting your first few mine fighting levels, which you will also need later on in the quest. Now head down the southwest corridor. Keep heading south into the next room, past the building bank, straight south through another room, and then turn east into the tentacle room. These tentacles are avoidable if you're careful, but will attack anyone stepping on any adjacent tile, even diagonal ones. They're level 4, so are killable even when you're level 0, but they also have a good chance of killing you. Head south through the room, avoiding the tentacles, either by casting immunity or by careful clicking, then go straight south through the next room, again dodging tentacles. Going through the southern door will trigger a cutscene where you meet the uncorrupted goblins. They will explain that the goblins are normally peaceful, but the corruption in the river turns some of them violent. You have to go and investigate the source of the corruption. After the cutscene, I recommend heading straight west to unlock the teleport stone for this area. You can also head into the eastern room to drop off any ores you collected. Next, head back past all the tentacles. This time go straight north through all the rooms until you hit the river. Then double back on yourself to take the southeastern passageway and follow the passageway through to the east. Then turn north and east again, following the river. As you go east past the bend in the river, note the obelisk for this area is in the room just south of here. You can use any unattuned gear on the obelisk to then make the gear usable in this area, including gear you craft for yourself in the mines of Mantuban. Continue following the river to the north and stand by the northern cliff, close to the rolled up rope ladder, and use the whistle from your quest inventory. A kobold will appear and tell you he will only let you up if you can give him a shiny amethyst. Now is a good time to train your mining, as you will need 10 mining for this next part of the quest, and 14 later, so feel free to get all the levels you need now, or just get up to level 10 for the next stage. Once you're level 10, or 14 if you want to get all required levels now, head right back to the room where you got your pickaxe, just east of the mine entrance. Exit the room to the north and speak to Sammy Clod to learn where to get these amethysts. He will tell you that you need to follow a cave moth, which is actually right next door in the room to the west. Just go into the room and watch the moth leave. Then follow it through the series of rooms until you get to the ratty terminus, where the amethyst will be on the wall with the moth sitting on top of it. Simply mine the amethyst to get the stone. We'll also be doing some combat shortly, and you're already close to both the mine crawlers and the tentacles, so now would be a good time to train your combat. Once you have a few levels, you can also go east of the tentacle corridor, which is just north of the goblin settlement, to fight toads and skeletons. I recommend getting to level 12 mine fighter before continuing with the quest. Now go all the way back to the waterfall and speak to the kobold again. You'll throw it up to him, which I think is very trusting of your character personally, and he lowers the ladder for you. Go around the corner to the east and try to open the locked door on the south side of the room. This will start a dialogue where you can insist that you are friendly. They will believe you and unlock the door, also very trusting. Go inside and talk to Thaddeus Torelli, who gives you a key. Head back out of the room and go through the eastern exit. There's a locked door on the east side of the next room. Unlock it by using the key on the door and walk through. Now continue eastwards through 2 more rooms until you reach a 3rd room where a cutscene will trigger. You found the guards that were dispatched to the mine, and they too have been corrupted by the crystal. You'll have to kill each one of these, and they are aggressive. As you fully heal between fights, this is less difficult than it looks, but you may want to bring some potions if you have a low mine fighter level. After you kill the enemies, you can interact with the crystal to get some clues on where to find the items you need, but don't worry, I'll just tell you. Go north over the river, then west, and then north again to find a room full of cockroaches. Attack the glowing cockroach for your first item. This cockroach is a slightly higher level, so if you're struggling, just kill some of the level 14 cockroaches until you get a level or 2. Once it's dead, you'll receive a glowing leg and you can head back to the crystal room. Now interact with the locked door north of the crystal and again insist that you are friendly. They'll just believe you and you can walk into the room and talk to the gnome there. She'll tell you what she witnessed via a cutscene, and then she'll hand you a glowing piece of coal. 2 down, 2 to go. Now both of these items can actually be gotten as soon as you enter the mine, so you can get them earlier if you're speedrunning this quest. But story-wise, it doesn't make much sense to mention them until now. Go back towards the waterfall and down the ladder, follow the river back the way you came, go past the monolith room and south into Kobold Cavern. Continue south this time into Grachnid Cave. This is a puzzle room. You need to find the route around the tiles without making a noise that wakes the Grachnid up and sends you hurling back to the entrance. If you step on the wrong tile, it will mark the tile with stones, so you know not to step on it in future. The path is the same for everyone, at least at the time of recording, and so you can watch other people who are further ahead of you to see what path to take. You can also approach this in a kind of co-op manner, with each of you taking turns to lead the way, so that you only get sent back half as many times overall. However, you cannot see stony tiles marked by other players, so you must pay close attention to their pathing. Take the path I show here in the video and interact with the cave moss to harvest it. You can follow the safe path back out, or just stand on an incorrect tile to get pushed back to the entrance. But to get this last piece, you're better off just using the mine teleport. If you haven't got 14 mining yet, now is the time to do it. Once you have 14 mining, head north of the goblin settlement, past the tentacles, and exit the second tentacle room to the west, and continue west into Stalagmite Nook. Mine the glowing node on the southwest side of the room. Next, return to the crystal and use all 4 of the items you just collected on it to cleanse the corruption. Now you need to report back to Jalda Green, back in the HopePort starting area. She's in the middle of a conversation about a mysterious villain named Vilzax. Ignore all that and tell her you completed the mission. She doesn't seem to mind that you killed all of her guards and commends you on a job well done, then sends you off to talk to Lord Brannoff about your next assignment. Head to Brannoff's chamber inside Brannoff's house in HopePort and talk to him about the main story. He will tell you that the Horn of HopePort has been stolen by goblins and you have to go and recover it from the corrupted goblin area of the mine. Head back to the mine and from the pickaxe room go through the southeast corridor to end up on the north side of the river. Follow the river along and head through the first northern opening you find. Run past the aggressive goblins and north into the goblin sleeping area. Talk to the guard and trick him into telling you the revolutionary information that the locked door has an associated key. Now just go back south and kill goblins until you receive the key. Come back and open the door. Go through and search the goblin loot stash to get the Horn of HopePort and a whopping 88 silver, which is a significant amount if you're doing this at a low level. Now go back to Brannoff in HopePort, give him the horn, and then report back to Jalda Green again. She'll explain you need to get to Crenopolis and will give you permission to use the Cyclops path. So now you need to go back to the east side of HopeForest and just north of the northern mine entrance to find the path. Speak to the Cyclops guard and ask to go through. He will require you to do him a favour first. He asks that you gather some gnomic silver for him. Just like the other episodes, this task has a level requirement where you must be attuned to the mine. This means you must have a mine of Mantuban level of 65 and a total level of 252. Train these levels however you like, then head to the gnome workshop in the mine of Mantuban, just north of the crystal you cleansed. Try to go through the locked door to the east and tell the gnome that you need some gnomic silver. She will open the door for you and you can mine the silver in the next room provided you meet the level requirements. Bring the silver back to the Cyclops to get a chunk of Minefighter and Miner experience. Remember to use your XP potion beforehand to get even more experience. Now head through the gate. Congratulations, you've made it to Crenopolis. I post guides and gameplay videos regularly and I'm live on YouTube every Sunday at 1900 UTC. That's 7 PM local time in the UK. So why not subscribe to see when I'm live and get my videos on your feed when they come out. In the meantime, you might want to watch one of the videos on the screen now. Thanks so much for watching guys, have a great day.